Hello, fellow translators. This is another video that I'm going to do on kind of one of the basics, which obviously I've touched on and I've talked about in the past, but I wanted to do a video dedicated specifically to this, and that's rush jobs. And I want to talk about what rush jobs are, how much you can charge per rush job, if you should charge extra per rush job, how you should treat rush jobs, etc., etc., etc. So let's get into it, because trust me, if you're a translator, I think if you're a freelancer of any type, you're going to have to deal with rush jobs, and this is going to be an issue. So let's get into it. First of all, what are rush jobs? Rush jobs are jobs that you need to do in a rush. This can mean different things for different people, and often it'll be if you need to do something for the client in less than 24 hours, that's a rush job. But there are different types of jobs, right? Maybe you need to translate 10 words, and so 24 hours is plenty of time to do it. But maybe you need to translate 5,000 words, so even 48 hours feels like a rush job, right? So you really need to see, and it needs to be a judgment call. And usually what I see happen is that people will say, okay, anything that you need within 24 hours, business hours, can be a rush job. So you can decide if this means 24 hours or if you're saying 24 hours also between Friday and Monday, so you're not including the weekend. I think most translators don't do this because, let's face it, most of us work on weekends. It's a weekend right now and I'm recording this, although this isn't my main work, I guess, but still. Okay, and once again, also, by the way, I think I am crooked. This must be a crooked room, because every video I feel like something's crooked and I can never tell what. Anyway, where was I? I can't remember. Oh, now I do. So the rush jobs, it really can depend. And then you need to figure out what a rush job is for you. Say you feel comfortable translating, I don't know, 2,000 words per day. But anything more than that feels like a rush. Well, there you go. If someone needs you to do 6,000 words in 2 days, well, that's a rush job. And in fact, or you might even say that it's too rushed for you and you can't get it done. Or, you know, you'll tell yourself, I'll need to pull an all-nighter to do that. And if I'm going to lose sleep, well, that's a rush job. So you need to figure out what it is for you based on your pace, based on what you're doing, based on your own judgment. And so that's what a rush job is. So how do you treat a rush job? Well, there are various ways to treat it. Most people will charge a bit more. And they might charge an extra amount of, say, $10, $50, whatever it might be per rush job. But again, here it can get iffy because rush jobs can mean different things. Some of them might only be 10 words. Some of them might be 6,000 words. So having a dollar amount might not make sense, and it might be better to have a percentage. So what percentages do you see? I'll see something between 30 and 50%. I mean, you see all over the spectrum, but I think 30 to 50% is sort of standard for a rush job, and variations thereof. So play around with it, see what other people do. Feel free to ask around other translators and see what they do, because it can very much depend on your language combination or your specialization, stuff like that. But that's sort of what I see. And in fact, feel free to do more. In fact, feel free to go up to 100% and see what happens, because when you calculate your rush job, you need to take into account yourself, the stress level, the sleep you're losing, and stuff like that. And so you need to take all that into account as well when you're doing a rush job, because, I mean, it's your life, and you can't treat it like a joke, and you can't just do stuff for everyone everywhere and destroy your health in the meantime, because then what's the purpose? So it is a calculation, it is a judgment call, and try to see more or less what works for you. What I would usually do is, if someone says, okay, I need this within 24 hours, I'd write back, okay, I can do this in 24 hours, and this is my rush job quote. I'll have it done within 24 hours, and it'll cost X amount. However, this is my general quote, non-rush job quote. This is my normal translation quote, and this will take me 2 business days or whatever it is. And I was surprised at how often, because obviously the extended deadline will be a much lower quote than the rush job, And I was surprised at how often suddenly this rush job became in not so much of a rush. And suddenly they were not in a rush. They're like, oh, actually, the extended deadline is fine. Just do that. And so don't always just assume that because they say rush, it is rush. You'll have these clients that they just decide everything is a rush for no reason. And I noticed it. I got really annoyed. They'll say, this is a rush, this is a rush, this is a rush. I'll do something in a rush, get it done. And then I won't hear from them for a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. Then after 2 weeks, they email me, say, okay, so we're looking through your translation. What did you mean by this and that? And I'll say, what? Like, I thought you needed it right away. Why are you only looking over it now after 2 weeks? And you realize that they're just, I don't know, they just want things in a rush because they want them in a rush, but there's no real reason to have it in a rush. So make sure you kind of take all this into account when you decide if you're going to accept the rush jobs and then what your terms are for the rush job. Now, my situation is that after a while, my goal was, and pretty much what I ended up doing, was trying not to accept any rush jobs. It was just so often that I found out that a rush job was the result of disorganization and general incompetence somewhere down the line. There's some project manager or someone on the along the chain that is incompetent or can't get their stuff together or whatever, and so they wait until the very last minute to hire you for this rush job. The PowerPoint presentation that needs to be translated or the marketing material or whatever, it wasn't just thought up yesterday and they need it for tomorrow. No, it's been in the process for a while, but somewhere along the line, someone delayed everything until the last minute. And as a translator, you're kind of the final part of this chain, in this particular part of the chain. And so you'll hear about it last, and then you need to deliver it first. And then you deliver it to the project manager who delivers it to their boss and blah, 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 blah. And so you're stuck holding the bag with this rush job, which didn't need to be a rush job. And I found this happen so often that, quite frankly, when there's disorganization or incompetence down the line, that's when all the problem jobs happen. And I found every time I have these rush jobs, suddenly I'll hear back 2 weeks later from the client, be like, oh, we needed this translated, not that, and blah, 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 blah. And I have to go back and say, no, you actually asked for this, not this, and dun, 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 dun. And it gets into this whole big fight back and forth. And purely because they are completely disorganized. And so I decided, you know what? Anytime I see rush job, it's kind of a red flag for me. And I'm not sure that I necessarily want to take it. So I would do rush jobs for my regular clients and stuff, because stuff does pop up. Let's face it, that's life. But more and more, I try to avoid rush jobs. And that was sort of the goal that I was striving for. And so I say that as a recommendation. You're going to have to deal with rush jobs. Everyone has to deal with that. But maybe that should be a goal. As you are performing your translations more and more, try to have this goal of one day not having to do rush jobs anymore because it makes life better, but also because you don't have to deal with those types of clients. Because sooner or later, you're going to meet clients who actually have their act together. And they'll assign you something, and then you can do it in the right amount of time, and you can work with them completely smoothly, and those are great. And you realize, wait a minute, I don't have to deal with these people who are always in a rush. I can deal with a lot better clients. And so that's something you should strive for, I think, and that you should be shooting for. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have to say about rush jobs and how to use them and how you should be treating them, because we find them a lot. So make sure that if you do them, you get paid more for them and that it's worth your time and effort. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Let me know if you had any issues with rush jobs or if there's anything I missed or anything like that in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them. But otherwise, I will talk to you next time. Okay, thanks. Bye. Savedum.